Hey friends, welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. This is my first ever yoga class. It'll be a beginner class, nothing too complicated at all. It's more a restorative flow. I'm actually doing this for myself. Usually I like to take it easy at the end of the week, and right now it is Sunday at about 8 p.m. So I'm just gonna stretch, kind of open up the body after a long week and after a long weekend. Wind down, maybe play some music, light some candles, burn some incense, just to ground yourself and feel good before you start your week. So let's get started in Vajrasana pose or Thunderbolt pose, where you sit on the shins, the hips back onto the heels. If you're able to do this, a lot of people can't do this pose and they have pain in the knee or just discomfort overall, and that's fine. You can just come into a regular seated position with the legs crossed. So let's ground down, close the eyes. Start to inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Start to extend the breath. Maybe take 3 to 4 seconds in and 3 to 4 seconds out. Breathing into the belly, then the chest, then the neck and head. And exhaling on the reverse. Sorry if you hear a chewing sound. That's my dog chewing a deer antler. I can't stop her. Maybe set an intention for your week. Maybe reflect back on the past week. Some good things that you did. Maybe some things that you want to improve on. And set yourself an intention. Think about what it is in your life that you want to do better at, or something you'd like to change, improve. Or you can just simply feel gratitude for the life that you have, for the life that you're living, for the friends, the family, for you, yourself. Give gratitude to yourself. Now we're going to take a slight twist to the right. So open the eyes, place the left hand on the right knee, and extend the spine upward, the crown of the head reaching toward the sky, and turn to your right. Bring the right hand to the back of the mat or behind you, and simply twist to the right. Keep that focus on the breath. On your inhale, come back to neutral. Take one breath here. Inhale, place the right hand on the left thigh or left knee. Left hand behind you, and twist to the left. Remember to keep that spine erect. Crown of the head reaching towards the sky. Just a light twist. Inhale, come back to neutral. Take a deep breath here. Now place the right hand to your right side on the mat. Bring the left hand up and over the head, and then out to the right for a side stretch on the left side. Make sure to tilt your chest a little bit upwards here. Don't collapse it down. Feel the stretch in your lats, in the side body, in the ribs. Maybe take a glance upward toward the ceiling. Keep breathing, focusing on that breath. Make this a moving meditation. Inhale back to center. Now place the left hand to the left of your body. Inhale, bring the right hand up and over to the left side. For a side stretch on the right side. Feel the lats stretching, the ribs. Remember to tilt your chest slightly upwards. And enjoy this beautiful side stretch. Inhale, come back to center. Take a breath here. Now come onto the hands and the knees. You want your hands to be below the shoulders and the hips above the knees. Untuck the toes. We're going to do some cat-cow. So on your inhale, extend the spine down towards the mat, slowly, each vertebrae one by one. Pushing the body down towards the mat. Lastly, bringing the head up for cow pose. As you exhale, lift the spine up towards the ceiling. For cat, extend those shoulders out, press into the ground. Inhale, come back to cow pose. Reach the spine towards the ground. Exhale, flex the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale, come back to neutral. Now we're going to sit back onto our heels. Keep the toes tucked. So tuck your toes now. Lean back. Take the hands off the mat and sit onto the heels. For a nice foot stretch, a nice toe stretch. Again, a lot of people find this pose difficult. It hurts their feet or it's very uncomfortable, which is completely understandable. I would suggest working on it, working on sitting like this for even 10 seconds a day just to really get your feet used to it and be able to stand this pose for longer periods. It's a very good stretch for the toes, for the feet. Our feet are often so constrained by the shoes we wear, so they deserve the stretch. Now bring the hands back down to the mat and move the feet back, and let's come into plank pose. So press the hands into the mat, push your upper back up towards the ceiling, press into the hands, to the fingers, press out into the shoulders. Keep that core engaged, keep the tailbone tucked. Very solid plank. You want to really be engaging most of the body here. Your shoulders, your core, your hips, your legs, your glutes. We won't stay here long, just a couple more breaths. Exhale, downward dog. Bring the hips back and up. Press into the hands, press into those shoulders. And breathe. Remember to keep breathing, friends. We want to maintain our breath throughout the entire practice. Maintain a slow inhale and a slow exhale. Inhale, lift the right foot up for three-legged dog. Exhale, bring the right foot between the hands for low lunge. Drop the knee. Drop the left knee, untuck the left toes. Bring the hands up and over the head. Reach the left hip down towards the mat, kind of like in a diagonal way. Feel that hip flexor opening. Roll the shoulders down away from the ears. Breathe. Maybe take a revolved twist. So bring the left arm forward, the right arm back for revolved low lunge. Very good twist for the core. Keep that spine elongated, that breath steady. Inhale, hands back up over the head, low lunge. Now exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. Heel toe the right foot forward and lean back into your left hip for a nice hamstring stretch on the right side. If you want to keep your knee bent here, I encourage it. It's just slightly bent if you're unable to get into this pose, if it's uncomfortable for you. Don't worry about keeping the right knee bent. You don't overextend the knee, which could be a problem for most people. Inhale, elongate the spine, and on the exhale, fall forward over the right leg. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fall forward. Come back into low lunge. Lift the hands up over the head. Now untuck the left toe, or rather tuck the left toe. Bring the hands back down to the mat. Lift the left knee up. Bring the right foot to meet the left. Back to plank pose. Sierra is really enjoying that bone. Stay here for just a couple of breaths. On your exhale, come back into downward dog. Hips up and back. You can reach the heels down to the mat. They obviously don't have to be touching. Don't worry about them touching. The knees can remain bent if you want. That's completely fine. Make sure it just feels good in your body. This is the point of these poses. You want to feel good in them. Of course, when it comes to yoga, a lot of the poses are very strong and maybe uncomfortable. But you initially want to feel good in the pose. And sometimes working hard is also feeling good. Inhale, bring the left foot up for three-legged dog. Keep those shoulders square to the mat. Don't open up with the left shoulder. Try and keep them squared. Inhale, exhale. Bring the left foot between the hands for low lunge. Untuck the right toe, bring the right knee down to the mat. Inhale, bring the arms up above the head. Low lunge. On the other side. Remember to pull or push that right hip down towards the mat. You want to feel this in your right hip flexor, in the right quadricep, the upper quad. Shoulders away from the neck, away from the ears. Fingers reaching up towards the sky. Inhale, bring the right hand forward, left hand back for revolved low lunge. Inhale, bring the arms back up above the head. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat. Heel toe your left foot forward. And then sit back, hip over knee for that nice hamstring stretch. Keep that left foot engaged, the toes pointing up to the ceiling. On the inhale, lengthen the spine. On the exhale, fold. Just as much as you feel comfortable. Make sure you're feeling that stretch. I'm sure you are. This is a very nice, isolated hamstring stretch that I love doing, especially after maybe a hike or a run or whatever, any type of exercise. Inhale, come back to low lunge. Hands up above the head. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Tuck that right toe, lift the knee, bring the left foot to meet the right for plank pose. Now we're going to do just a small little strong movement. We're going to get into a side lunge. So bring the feet together, toes together, and then move on to the left knife edge of your foot. Firm into the left hand, press into the left shoulder. Bring the right hand up towards the ceiling. If this is hard for you, then you can always bring the right foot in front of the left to kind of take this modified side plank. And just hold it here for a little bit. Keep those hips elevated, slightly pointing forward. Don't let your hips collapse. Press into that left shoulder. And breathe. Now inhale, come back into plank pose. Exhale, side plank on the right side. Bring that left hand up. Press into that right hand and shoulders. Keep those hips engaged. Keep them lifted slightly upward, slightly forward. Just 2 more breaths here. Back to plank pose. Feet slightly apart, hip width apart. Inhale, exhale, downward dog. Now on the inhale, bring your right knee to meet your right wrist. Keep that shin a little bit less than parallel to the front of your mat. We're going to come into half pigeon here. The more you straighten your shin to the front of the mat, the more difficult this pose will be. Keep that right foot flexed. Extend the back upwards, the spine upwards towards the sky, the crown of the head reaching up. And if you want, fold forward over your right leg onto the forearms. Feel that nice stretch in the glutes. If you want, you can rest your head down to the hands. Remember that intention you set? Sometimes I forget it. Actually, a lot of the times I forget it. That's why it's good to remind yourself throughout your practice what your intention was, so you can actually do something about it. Because if it's just an intention and then you forget about it, oh, what is it that I wanted, or what is it that I wanted to improve on? Chances are it's not going to happen. And I'm kind of talking to myself here. So, point is, I like to remind myself throughout the practice the intention I set at the beginning of class. Even if it was just gratitude, just remember that. Be thankful for everything that I have, for the friends, for the family, for my health, being able to move and practice this beautiful practice of yoga. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, sit down onto the right glute. Bring that left foot up and around, and then over the right thigh. We're going to take another twist here. So hook that right hand, or right elbow rather, onto the left thigh. Bring the left hand back behind you. Inhale, lengthen that spine. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come back to neutral. Now bring the soles of your feet together. We're going to come into cobbler pose or butterfly. The closer you bring your heels to the groin, the harder the stretch is. The further out they are, it's a bit easier. So I kind of do it in the middle. That's what feels good for me. These pants are about to rip. Inhale, extend the spine, lengthen the spine upward. Grab the toes or the feet. And if you can, on your exhale, fold forward over the feet. You can keep the feet clasped with the hands, or you can just bring your hands forward. I kind of prefer this. I prefer bringing my forearms down to the mat, just folding and relaxing. I usually do this kind of stretch after a nice hike. I love hiking. I usually carry like 10, 15 kilos on my back and then just go hike for 3-4 hours. So when I'm done, my legs are feeling it, my back is feeling it, my shoulders are feeling it. And this is a nice just wind down and a overall body stretch. Nothing too crazy, just very chill. Open up the body, get in tune with your body. Even more important. Inhale, come back up. Help the knees up with the hands. Shake out those legs a little bit. Maybe windshield wiper them. Now come forward into a squat position. You can do this without using the hands. Since it's a very chill class and we're just kind of stretching, you can just use your hands to come into a squat malasana. Now a lot of people are like this because they don't have the flexibility in the ankles, and that's fine. Just spend a little bit of time here. This is also a great foundational pose, a foundational posture in yoga, and something that everybody should practice. Practice being in a squat every day because it's such a basic movement and it's so good for your body. It's so good for your flexibility and your overall health to be able to sit in this position. I love it. I usually do it in the shower. It's weird, but I usually take a cold shower at the end and I sit in a squat position. And freeze my butt off, basically. So bring the hands back down to the mat, and then extend the feet back for plank pose. We're going to do the other side now. Hold it here a little bit. Sierra's finally done eating her antler. Is it good? Exhale, bring the hips back, up and back for downward dog. On your exhale, bring the left knee to the back of your left wrist for half pigeon on the other side. Move that right foot back. Keep that left leg, or that left foot flexed. Extend the spine, untuck the right toe. Lengthen that spine towards the sky. Crown of the head lengthened up. Again, decide where you want your shin, how you want it angled, how you want that knee angled. If you want a harder stretch or a more intense stretch, then Make that shin more parallel to the front of the mat. If not, then just keep it more bent. Feel free to come down onto the forearms. Stretch over the leg, over the left leg. Bring that head down if you want. On your inhale, come back up. Maybe take a slight back bend. Just a little bit. Remember to keep those shoulders away from your neck, rolled away from the ears. That's always the default. You always kind of want to keep your shoulders away from the neck in most poses, not all. Now lean into the left hip. Swing that right leg over, right foot over the left thigh. We're going to go into that twist. So bring the left arm and hook that elbow onto the right thigh. Right hand back behind you. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist to the right. Oof, I'm feeling this. Feels good though. I don't know why I'm sore. Just had a long week. I actually didn't go on a hike this weekend. But I did do a hard practice yesterday. Inhale, come back to neutral. Now we're going to get into a wide-legged, seated wide-legged forward fold. So I'll rotate on the mat. You can stay where you are. And bring the legs as wide apart as you can. As wide apart as possible. For you, whatever is comfortable in your body. Don't push too much. Wherever it feels like, you're kind of flirting with your limit. And then inhale, try and lengthen that spine. And then on your exhale, reach the hands slowly forward. We're going to be in here for a little bit of time, so don't overextend too quickly. Keep those feet flexed. You want to keep those toes pointing towards the ceiling or pointed slightly back at you. And bring the forearms down to the ground if you can. You can be up here, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're feeling, as long as it feels good, as long as it feels like you're working, then that's completely fine. Over time, you'll start to go deeper and deeper. Not so deep. Flexibility takes time, but obviously people have their limits and people are more flexible than others. And hopefully you keep practicing. Yoga is such a powerful practice, both physically, mentally, and obviously very spiritually. There's so many applications of yoga, and this asana, this movement practice, is but a tool, a small tool in the universe that is yoga. It's a pillar in the giant temple of yoga. If you can, maybe reach slightly more deeper into this pose. Think about that intention again, that intention that you set for yourself. Inhale slowly, come back up. Use your hands to help bend your knees. Bring those knees back into a bend. Shake them out. Windshield wiper. Slowly get some blood flowing back in there. Now we're going to come back into tabletop. So shoulders above the wrists, hips above the knees. And then we're going to lower all the way down to Sphinx pose. So bring those elbows below the shoulders, forearms to the ground. Untuck the toes. Make sure your feet are hip width or longer apart. Palms of the hands down on the mat. And we come into Sphinx pose with our back bent. But in this back bend, focus on opening the front body rather than bending your back. In all back bends, that's how you should think. You should think more of opening the front side of the body rather than bending your back. As always, remember, roll the shoulders away from the neck. Flex the glutes to keep that back safe. If you want here, you can slowly press into seal pose. So press into the hands, lift the elbows off the mat for a more intense back bend. Keep those shoulders rolled away from the ears. On your exhale, come back down. Come back down to prone position. So bring the head back down to the hands, like crocodile pose. Just a very chill pose. Maybe move the hips, shake them out a little bit. Now come back up slightly, keep the left forearm down. Bend your right leg, bring the foot back. Clasp your right foot with your right hand and press the heel down to the glute for this nice quad stretch. Try and keep that left elbow pressed away from the neck. Don't collapse it. Keep it pressed and firm. Focus on that breath. Inhale, let go of the leg. Bring it back to meet the other. Now let's do the other side. So bring the right forearm down to the right mat. Bend that left leg. Flex those toes. Grab the left leg with the left hand and press down. That feels good for me. Feel that stretch in the left front shoulder. The deltoid, the anterior deltoid. Inhale, release. Stay here for a little bit. Bring the head to the hands. Now push up and back for child's pose. So bring those toes to touch, the knees apart, so you can fit your chest down there. And bring the hips back to the heels. And the hands reach forward. And the chest sinks down towards the mat. Inhale, come up. Let's take a seat. Come into a seated position and then Move back and down onto your back. Keep those legs bent. Take a few breaths here. Bring the knees towards the chest. Give yourself a nice hug. Take one deep breath here. And when you think you've inhaled all the way, take another sharp inhale and exhale through the mouth. Let's do one more of that. So take a deep inhale. And then a second, out through the mouth. Now grab the outside of the feet. And if you can't grab the outside of your feet, then grabbing the thighs is fine. The hamstrings. But I will be grabbing the outside of my feet. And then bring your knees down towards your armpits for happy baby. So pull those feet down towards the mat. Feel the groin, feel the hamstrings, feel the glutes all open up for this last stretch. Maybe move the feet around. Maybe press one foot towards the mat more than the other and just alternate. Maybe extend one foot if you can, if you like to. Bring it back, extend the other side. Bring it back. Now take one deep inhale, hug the knees into the chest, and on your exhale, come into Shavasana. The last pose of the practice, the resting pose, always done at the end of an asana practice. In this practice, we didn't work too hard. We simply just flexed and moved into the body, stretched the body out. Now let go of all control of the breath or any control of the body, simply relaxing. Scanning from the tip of your toes, slowly working your way up to the crown of the head. Very slowly. Making sure that each part of your body is completely relaxed. It's a good exercise for simple body awareness. And a lot of this is done in Yoga Nidra, where you simply give attention to certain parts of the body. But here in Shavasana, we're just relaxing, purposely scanning to relax every part. Make sure the brow is relaxed. I tend to keep my brow furrowed a lot, so I have to keep reminding myself to relax. Relax the fingers, the toes, the arms, the hands. Relax the thighs, the neck, the face. Remember that intention that you set at the beginning of class. Maybe think about what step you're going to take, if you set any actionable intention or not. Now roll onto the right side of the body, so bring your right arm up above you, use it as sort of pillow to rest your head. Turn onto the right side of the body. Spend a few breaths here. Inhale, use the right hand, keep those eyes closed. Use the right hand to come up into a seated position. You can either sit in just a regular cross-legged position or a lotus or a half lotus. A lotus is a difficult pose. Keep the hands on the knees or in the lap. Take a few deep breaths here. Thank yourself for turning up, investing in yourself, giving yourself this time to just relax, to maybe delayer some of the layers that we all have, that yoga helps so much in peeling off. Slowly but surely, there's no shortcuts to difficult journeys, and most journeys in life are difficult, and yoga is no exception. But it's a beautiful practice. So thank yourself for doing it, and hopefully you continue. Bring the hands to your chest in prayer position if that's comfortable for you. Keep the eyes closed. Keep that breath steady. Thank you so much for practicing with me, yogis, friends, whoever you are. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you for investing in yourself, and hope to see you soon. Namaste.